Oh my goodness. Hi, how are you? I know it has been a hot minute since I have done a vlog style update kind of video that kind of goes over all the stuff that I've been up to and that I've been doing. I've been wanting to do these more frequently, but I guess this is probably a better way to do this. First off, how are you? I hope you're feeling well. I'm always open to seeing how people are doing in the comments. I like getting updates from people on how they're doing and how they're feeling. I typically get it on Twitch since that's pretty much the platform I use the majority of the time. So, I don't remember what was going on the last time I did one of these update videos, but I had a few things that I wanted to talk about. That kind of my journey has been covering, if you will, and just kind of do like a, like a longer form, like a vlog post to just, update y'all on what's happening. So I have, since I started my kind of dedication to a spiritual path in October of 2024, so many different things have happened, and one of the biggest things is a sense of clarity just with where I am and who I am and how old I am and what I'm doing. And that's been super duper nice to have after years of feeling like I didn't belong and not really knowing what was going to happen and having anxiety because I didn't know what was going to happen, all of that stuff. So kind of the big things in my other videos, this is my dolphin, kind of my big thing in my other videos that I've talked about is that I had a deep desire for a romantic connection with somebody. So that was the first one. The second thing was I wanted to have some type of income coming in because since I have essentially moved back in with my parents since the separation that I went through in my relationship, I didn't really have any money that was my own or any income. Everything that I had was attached to somebody else and it wasn't really mine, and I've been struggling to find something since before October of 2024. Something that was substantial. Like I had a retail job and that was okay, but it wasn't a lot. And then hours were cut due to what was happening with the company, so it was just a lot. It was just a lot. So that was the second thing. It was romantic stuff, it was income, and then it was me wanting so badly to move out of my parents' home and into my own place, or at least a place with roommates, right? Like a place where I can be an independent adult and I can feel like one. Because as much as I love my parents, there's this natural childlike vibe that I always end up having when I stay with my parents for an extended period of time. And some of it has to do with how they treat me. So I will feel like an adult, I'll be doing my own adult things, and then the nicknames that they call me, or kind of how they do things for me, or what they choose to do, with or without my permission in some cases, it does make me feel like a child. And I feel like a lot of people go through this, especially people who have had to move back home after like unfortunate stuff that's happened. And so those were my big things. Those were the big things that I wanted. And I was doing everything I felt in my power to get those things. So I was applying to jobs, and I was applying to at least at minimum with the 40-minute assessments you could have for applying to jobs, with now this new thing that they're doing where if you're applying for a job online, some jobs will require you to send them a minute-long video of you talking to tell them why you want the job and things like that, which I'm sure there are reasons for that. But it just adds another layer of complexity because they wouldn't make it easy for you to upload that video. It wouldn't be oh, you record the video here on our platform and you're sending it to us privately. They would say record a video, post it somewhere, and then send us the link of that video being posted, which is not easy in a lot of cases. So when it came to income, I really was like, I need something. I gotta have something. I was applying. And I may have said this in a previous vlog video that I did, but eventually, as I was meditating on spiritual things, and I have a pretty a pretty close and centered connection with my innermost self, my intuition, kind of the voice that speaks in the back, of my head, very gentle. The voice that gives me suggestions, and those suggestions, like 10 times out of 10, always pan out. They always pan out, which is why I'm like, I know it's not me, because I'm not right 100% of the time, you know what I'm saying? But the more I started listening to that, I started meditating and focusing on getting to know myself, the more I would hear, do less. And I was like, what do you mean by that? What do you mean, do less? Explain. And there wouldn't be an explanation. It would just be, you're doing too much, do less. And so, at some point, I just stopped applying to jobs. I just stopped. And it wasn't because, I didn't want to, but it wasn't because I was tired of applying. I had the stamina, I had the energy to keep going, because when you don't attach yourself to the outcome of something, sometimes, and I can't speak for everybody, I could just speak for me, right? But sometimes when you don't attach yourself to the results or what you're wanting as the results, it's easier to just keep going and to just keep doing a thing. So that's at least how I operate. So for me, I was having no trouble just continuously applying, and for a long time there I wasn't getting anything. I wasn't even getting rejection letters. I didn't even know if my applications were going through. But it was about 3 or 4 weeks of doing nothing. And when I say nothing, I mean not looking for jobs, not applying to them, not telling everybody. I definitely told people, I was like, yeah, I'm in the market, I'm looking for a job, but not trying to market myself. And I had a lot of people that I've known who had their ways that they got jobs that worked for them, that before this 3-week period came, they would tell me, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do. And I would do all of that stuff, and I would hear nothing. Quiet on the set, oddly quiet. I've said before, I've never had a problem finding jobs. And then all of a sudden, starting maybe last year before, finding a job, literally the hardest thing on the planet. And of course, we who live here in the United States of America understand why that is. So we are under no illusion. But I was moved to just stop doing that and to focus on the things that gave me goosebumps. I was moved to focus on the things that lit a fire in my soul, the things that made me happy. And a lot of people will say, find a job that you love and you'll never work a day in your life. And I think that is true, to a certain extent. I feel like it depends on what people's definition of work is. Because for me, work is work. If I'm doing anything I enjoy, if I have to sit down and focus, it is a little bit of work. You know what I'm saying? But I started focusing primarily on my streaming. And currently, for those of you who are new here, or maybe who don't know, I stream video games on a platform called Twitch. I stream online, and I've been doing this 3 days a week for the past 7 months now. I found a schedule that worked for me, and I've stuck with it, and I feel super blessed that even when it has been inconvenient for the people around me, and even when it's been frustrating for the people around me, I've still been able to do it. Even with that, I've still been able to do it, and I'm super duper grateful. And so I started focusing on that. And then I was moved to really lock it in with playing, having a good time. For those of you who've been with me for a while, I used to say, the mantra that I would say is, I get paid and pampered to play. That was the thing. I want to make money, I want to be able to take care of myself and do some really relaxing things to play. I don't want to have to work necessarily. And when it comes to the things that we want, I've always heard, if you want something, you have to see it in your mind. You have to have some type of plan, some type of something. You have to have something tangible. So saying it, writing it, having a vision board, a mood board, those things help a lot. And I was saying that I was, getting paid and pampered to play. And then at some point I started receiving monetary support on Twitch. And that blew my mind. And it wasn't a lot of money. We're not talking blowing up overnight. You know, we're not even talking, you know, the platform I use has a threshold. You have to make a certain amount of money before you can even pull that money out to actually use it. And so at first I wanted to be ungrateful. And then I checked myself really fucking hard, because I was like, you can't be ungrateful, bro. Like, you asked for this and you are getting paid to play. I was like, okay. So I was moved to be grateful, to focus on those things that happened. I had days where I would just, from the minute I opened my eyes and I got myself together, I would think about how grateful I was that there are people who are not my family, who do not know me personally, who are online, who support me right now. And I started getting really emotional about it. The more I thought about it, the longer I thought about it, the more I was like, that's crazy. Even a stranger sending you $1 online, a couple of cents, is a huge deal, because somebody decided that whatever you're doing, whoever you are, it was worth it to them to send you something. We oftentimes get really ungrateful when we get things, but it's not what we wanted. It's not at the amount. You know, it's like, oh man, I want to have, you know, a 6-figure job, and then you get a job and you're ungrateful, like, ugh, and then you wonder why that's not panning out, you know, why that job is difficult. But anyways, I digress. Hey, 11 minutes and 23 seconds as I'm digressing. But I focused on that. And then I had a particularly rough day where romantically my heart was hurting. I was yearning for connection. I was yearning for that connection. I have solid friends who show up for me. I have loving family members who show up for me. But that day, it was just hard. It was just hard to be thinking. At the time I was thinking, is this what I'm wanting and what I'm feeling? Is it gonna find me? Is it gonna find me? Am I gonna find it? Or is this a pipe dream? Is this fantastical? Is this imaginary craziness that I am holding on to so tightly and it's not real? And during the stream that day that I did, where I was online and I had people viewing, I cried that morning. Like, my heart just hurt, like, a lot. And as I was ending the stream that night, I got an email, and my sister happened to be there with me, and I got an email, and I may splice the clip into this. I may splice it because I saved the video. I saved the clip. And I got an email while I was sitting there feeling good about the stream. I had cried that morning, had fun in the stream. I was able to engage with, you know, my audience, which really energized me and made me feel better. I love what I am doing online. I never have to get a bunch of followers online. I do not have to get a lot of subscribers. I don't have to have donations. I don't have to have all of that. What I have right now fulfills me in a way. I'm just really fucking grateful. And while that was happening and I was feeling good, I got the email notification that I got a job. A job that I did not apply for. And I lost it. If I am to insert the clip, here goes the clip.
So, when it rains, it pours. Guys, I was just offered the job that I applied for.
God, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Oh my god.
That's insane
timing. That's insane timing.
Holy cow. But I'm really proud of you first.
No, shut the fuck up. We don't even have to talk about that. Fuck that shit. That is not as important as this.
Oh my god. I can't believe I got it. I can't believe I got it. I can't believe I got it. Oh my god. But, when I tell you how crazy it feels to be doing something repeatedly and for nobody else around you to really, like, they can't meet you where your belief is. They can't meet you up here. You're like, I know, I feel in my gut what I'm supposed to do. But because nobody else around you is doing it that way, it can be incredibly stressful. It can be incredibly nerve-wracking. It can cause anxiety and worry. Like, everybody around me who I know who is looking for jobs is applying daily, is going out, is talking to people, and here I am, Spirit's telling me for 3 weeks, do less, stop, do less, do less, do less. They just kept saying it. Anytime I tried to do a tarot card reading, I tried to do something different, I would just, anytime, I would hear do less. And then I would go to apply to something and my computer would shut off or the application wouldn't go through. And so it was just synchronicity after synchronicity after synchronicity of things that just perfectly lined up for me to get this job. Essentially, what happened with this job, I have been trying to find work and have applied to the company that I'll be working for no less than maybe 30 times over the past 4 or 5 years and got nothing, no response. And people I knew worked for this company and would put my name in the hat. Never heard anything. And then randomly, my dad came to me and was like, hey, I heard about this job, but it's really out of the realm of what you do. And I just thought about it. Do you want me to recommend you, like to recommend your name? Like to say, hey, here's her information, do with it what you will. I was like, yeah, honestly, at this point, I'll take anything. And really what it was I was also being moved to be open to any opportunity that came through. And I'll tell you why this is a big deal for me. The reason it was a big deal, and I am moved to tell you watching this, that you need to really check yourself on how open you actually are with getting to the result of what it is you're wanting. Because I would say that I was open, but then there was stuff I was like, well, I'm not doing that. And it wasn't even, oh, well, that thing would make me feel bad. It was just, well, that's beneath me. Ego, all day ego. And I had to realize that I wasn't open. So I started being open. I got the message from Spirit to begin doing less and to do less and to do less and to do less. Over the 3 weeks that I did less, I had 2 interviews. The most relaxed interviews I've ever had. I did not prepare for these interviews. I always prepare. I'm talking, I have cover letters print out. I have my resume printed out. I have the job description printed out. Usually I also will go and do some research on the company so that I can drop some keywords about the company's, like their values, in order to be shown. I'm telling you, interviewing is something that I have done for a long time. And all of those skills that I learned, I didn't need. I just got on the phone and it was like I had a chat with somebody. I was asked questions, of course, but I felt in my spirit for an answer versus trying to rack my logical brain for one. Craziest thing. The interviews went well, and then I got that notification. And now, for the first time in so long, your girl is employed with a job. It's way out of the realm of what I would have done. And it's crazy because, like, I have to explain why this is wild to me. So the thing is that I have been looking for like human resource type jobs, customer service. I thought I was going to teach at some point coming out of college when I graduated with my master's in entertainment business. I thought that was kind of the field that I was going to be in. For those of you that don't know, my dad found out that he was having some kidney issues, and so now he is on dialysis. But before he could be on at-home dialysis, which is essentially a machine that runs fluid into your body and cleanses your body, it essentially does what the kidneys are supposed to do and flushes your body out for you. And so that's a whole process you have to take a week-long class to learn how to do. I didn't want to go to this class. I didn't want to go because I had to get up very, very early. We had to leave here at like I had to be up every day by like 5 a.m. And so I didn't want to do this. I did not want to take these classes. Then I go to these classes and I realized how much I wanted to help people. Like, I enjoy talking to people, learning about their history, learning about their life, learning about their story, and seeing what I can do when I'm talking to them to give them respite, to give them a little bit pit stop, a place where they can kind of take a break from feeling judged or having expectations thrown at them, or somebody who's asking them about their job, or what are you going to do next? You know, oh, now you're married, are you going to have kids? Like, I want, when people interact with me and engage with me, to feel some semblance of peace. That's what I want to do. And as I was there taking the classes and I was learning the process, I thought to myself, man, it'd be cool to work in healthcare. Like, it'd be really cool to like actually throw on some scrubs and work in healthcare. And so I don't know why my camera just did that. I don't know what my camera did just now, but whatever it did, that was weird. So I what was I saying? Whatever my camera did distracted the fuck out of me just then. So I was talking to some nurses at the dialysis center, and I realized, I was like, I would love to work in like a hospital setting. I think that'd be cool. So I started looking up jobs that you could do at an entry level, you know. I looked up certifications, I looked up how much nursing school would be, and I just mulled the idea around for a while. The job I have now is essentially a job that allows me to help people who have lymphedema and cancer get them fitted for compression garments. So essentially the tight garments that kind of hold your skin in, it kind of helps you with the swelling and keeps swelling down and things like that. That's what I'll be doing. And it was a random job. It was a random thing that was thrown out. I didn't wake up every morning thinking, oh my God, it'd be so great if I could do this. No, I didn't think that. It was a random job that came out of nowhere. And now I have a job. Now there's this really weird in-between time where it's like you have the job and you haven't started working yet. And so I've been sitting in there. And the first thing that was hard for me, and I have a feeling if you're watching this, it's hard for you. So now that I have gone through all of that backstory, now we are talking. We're talking. You and me with you, it's us right here. So let me drink some water. So, something that we have a really bad habit of doing is we don't take the time to celebrate and be grateful for our wins, especially when, oh, so the camera's doing like a zoom up thing. I don't even know how to stop that, so I'm sorry for as this does this. But something that we do is we don't take the time to celebrate our wins. And a big part of the reason that we do this, I think, is because we're so used to everything being like a step-by-step process, right? So we're very milestone focused. Especially here in Western culture, we are very milestone focused. So it's like, once you graduate high school, you're expected to go to college. Once you go to college and you graduate, you're expected to get a job. You're expected to get a girlfriend or a boyfriend or a spouse. You're expected to get married. Then you're expected to have kids. There is a constant kind of track that you're supposed to be on, and every milestone is the next thing you're supposed to be doing. You're never really supposed to be just sitting where you're at because you lose momentum or you get complacent or, you know, any of those other types of like, why are you just sitting here? But sitting in the now, in my opinion, 23 minutes as I'm talking about this, sitting in the now and really feeling the feelings of, or sitting in the feelings rather, of you finally getting something that you've been asking for the longest time. And I struggled because I was immediately looking at what I needed to do as far as ordering my uniform, as far as making sure all my paperwork was done, scheduling doctor's visits and stuff, because I've got to do that since I'll be working in kind of like a clinical area and stuff like that. Like, I immediately started moving on to the next phase of what I needed to do. And Spirit checked me super hard. They were like, stop. Like, You just started a new journey, one that you have been asking for. And so I'm here to tell you, as you are getting things that you asked for, take the time to acknowledge them. And take the time to pat yourself on the back for what you did on the way there. I really had to focus on patting myself on the back for listening when Spirit said, do less. Do less. Now, some people might say, well, it sounds like you were just throwing stuff up against the wall and something hit. Again, this was a matter I didn't apply to this. Somebody took my information that I just kind of threw together and handed it to somebody, and somebody decided to take a chance on me having like an entry into this. But then here's the thing. Even with all of that, right? Everything I have noticed has been lined up particularly. Like, I have been constantly trying to plan, and I might be all over the place in this video, and I'm sorry. But I have been trying to plan out my life because I've always had this fear of being trapped in areas I don't want to be. Of being trapped at a dead-end job, of being trapped in a dead-end relationship, of being trapped in a miserable space of my own making. It's a very big fear that I've had because I've watched many people that I grew up with be in those positions where they're like, well, I guess this is just how it is. We're just meant to be miserable. And I don't like that. I don't agree with it. It's not my experience. Now, I can't tell somebody else what their experience is. If that is someone's experience, I'm not going to try to convince them that that's not what it is. I think everybody's journey and their perspective is valuable. And to try to tell somebody, that's not how it is, I know like what people are trying to do when they try to tell somebody, no, that's not what it is. But I never want to invalidate people's journeys. Whoa. Sometimes when you're yapping, you forget what the fuck you were talking about. That's crazy. Oh yes, so we have a habit of focusing on the milestones. We're constantly moving on to the next thing. So you do something, it's great, and you don't even take the time to enjoy that you did that thing. You just immediately move forward. And then we have the audacity to be upset when momentum stops and things stop happening. It's like, well, what was happening? Well, you weren't grateful for the thing that happened. Your energy wasn't one of, man, this is great, I would love more. Your energy was an energy of, I have to work harder. Well, why would you have to work harder if you already got the thing? Now again, this space that I have here that I talk about is very spiritually based. It's very about intuition. It's very about following your gut. It's very about doing what you feel. As long as you're not harming anybody or doing anything crazy. That's the caveat. I'm all about following your gut here and locking into your innermost sense of self. That kind of higher understanding is in every person that exists. It's there. It's just a matter of slowing down and listening to it and hearing it. Our intuition tells us so much, and we typically ignore it in favor of what is real and what is in the physical. Which I can understand why people do that, but for me, the real and the physical has given me more anxiety. It hasn't panned out. It's like somebody being like, well, why would you be an artist? You should get a 9-to-5 job where you have security. And then COVID happened and people got laid off. So it's like, there isn't really a thing that 100% guarantees you safety in this life. There's stuff that you can look at the numbers and you can say, okay, well, there's more safety here. But for the most part, there is no 100% guarantee that everything you're doing is the correct thing, that it will get you exactly what you're looking for, and that you will, guaranteed, be super happy and peaceful for the rest of your life. That's it. We came back here, in my opinion, to experience the human experience, which we do not have control over. You know? So, trying to get back what I was talking about. Damn. So, I took the time, and as I took the time, I was then given another nugget. And the nugget was, you notice how when you started to detach from it, it came through? Now, something that I have been thinking and feeling, and I've had, I've done some tarot card readings for myself, and then other people have kind of told me that they're going through the same thing. There's a certain amount of detachment that I think is healthy. When you are obsessed and attached to an outcome, you place, I believe, this is all my opinion, by the way, I believe that you place your happiness up on like a platter for anybody to take, for anybody to do anything with. Because what you're saying is if the result is not what I'm wanting it to be, then I won't be happy. Now, it is hard to work against that, because that's essentially what we're taught. Like, focus on the thing, clear your mind out. And when you focus on that thing, you guarantee that happiness is going to come through. I can't speak for other people's experience, but for me, it's not been the case. I've thought all kinds of things were going to make me happy, and I've gotten a little bit of happiness, but for the most part, where a lot of my happiness is coming from these days is that centered feeling. It's taking the time to celebrate in the moment. It's taking the time to look at myself in the mirror and compliment myself. Hype myself up. Support myself. Not that other people can't do it, but by doing it for you, you essentially make yourself incredibly OP. You become incredibly overpowered, because what you're depending on is your own ability to connect with yourself. And that is something that is within your control. There's all this stuff that we can control. There's all this stuff that we can't. And then there's even more stuff that we can't control that we don't even know that we can't control. So instead of focusing on all the things I can't control, I just look at the things that I can and I go, well, how can I become more sturdy in that area? I saw a little thing that said, a bird doesn't land on branches trusting that the branch won't fall. The bird trusts its wings. It trusts that if the branch breaks beneath it, it'll be able to fly off and do its own thing. It trusts in its own ability to fly. And I think that's how we as human beings, I think that's when we are the healthiest. When we are able to trust in our kind of innate power that we all come here with. And we can trust in that ability. The journey is so long and simultaneously so short. And I'm seeing it. Something else that Spirit told me, and I'm all over the place, so I feel like each piece is for maybe a different person. It could be for the same person. I've been moved to slow down a lot, to actually be where I'm at. And in slowing down, I'm starting to discover so much about how fast I move. How often I've cut myself, I've stubbed my toe, I've bruised a knee, an arm, a shoulder. How often I've snagged my hair on things, I've snagged clothes of mine, I've zipped something up in my zipper. That stuff happens it used to happen so much, and it's because I was rushing, I was moving too fast. So Spirit's been very on me about slowing down, noticing my breath, my breathing. Once I started slowing down, I started noticing that I hold my breath a lot. And I don't know, you may be a person who does this, where you're holding your breath because you're really focused or because you're waiting in anticipation for something. But either way, my wrist is over here pop, lock, and dropping. But either way, holding your breath consistently isn't good for you. You want the energy, you want that flowing. And so I have been moved a couple of times, I've only done it twice, to go on incredibly slow walks. And when I tell you, this shit was painful because I was so impatient. I was like, I could be at the other end of the sidewalk by now. Why am I doing this? And I had to laugh at the impatience of wanting to be further along on the sidewalk. But I was literally out there walking, putting one foot in front of the other. And this is all after discovering that I had a job, that I now have a job. And so, do less, slow down, be in the moment that you are in. You are a human being. You're a human being. And funny enough, being is the one thing human beings have the hardest time with. We struggle so much to simply be where we are at when we're there. How many people do you know? You could probably name 5 off the top of your head right now of people who are constantly letting you know about their schedule. They're talking about the future. A majority of and even you may think, yeah, when I talk to people, I'm constantly talking about where next I have to be. How often do you talk about where you're at right now? How are you feeling in this moment? Practicing checking in with yourself throughout the day. How do I feel in this moment? How does my body feel? How does my spirit feel? How does my mind feel? And I think what this does is it brings a certain level of awareness that a lot of people do not have. I'm noticing a lack of self-awareness when it comes to a lot happening in the United States right now. There's a gross lack of self-awareness. And I think it's because we are in a society where we're told to go faster. Everything is faster. You're heating up your food faster. You're wanting to get to work faster. We have artificial intelligence is being used to do things faster. We're constantly in a state of trying to speed. We're running on a treadmill, and then we wonder why we get burnt out so fast. Because we're moving too fast. So many people that I talk to say, I wish I could slow down. I love the cottagecore TikToks that I'm seeing, or I really like, kind of those slow vacations. I love seeing the kind of rural Japanese living or the rural Chinese living where people are out here planting things and they're growing things and they're taking their time to cook. And it's like, you do know you have access to that type of vibe where you're at. There is time. I guarantee you there is some time that you are using to speed through that you could be slowing down right now. Right now. For me, I realized I'll be walking too fast on leisure walks. Why? At this point, I realized something that I want to share with you. I realized so much of it now is habit. It's because I've been doing it so long. So it's not even because I'm stressed and I'm anxious. Because I would like to think I'm doing a really good job with so much of what Spirit has been trying to teach me since October, of 2024. And so much of what I'm learning is... Yeah, that was a little loose. That was a bit too loose for comfort. Oh, there we go. I lost it. That's crazy. I love these videos for this very reason, because I lose stuff so quick. I'll be going and I'll be talking. And I feel like, part of me feels like the reason that happens is because the point that I was making, whoever needs it got it already. So I don't need to keep talking about whatever that point was. But instant gratification is something that I'm seeing that is more often than not negatively affecting most of the people I know, including myself. The inability to wait, the inability to be patient, the inability to just enjoy where you're at and watch as your life unfolds. Now, a lot of that does have to do with survival. So there are a lot of people right now, they're just trying to survive. They don't have time. They don't have time to do, all the meditation stuff. They're trying to put food on the table. They're trying to get their kids in school. They're trying to figure out where they're going to live. Like, there's a lot of struggle that people are going through. And I do consider myself incredibly privileged to have the option to move back home after a separation from, my ex-husband. I consider myself very privileged to be able to stream, to be able to post videos, to have the technology to be able to post videos and to engage with people online. But in every area, no matter who you are, your ethnicity, your age, your height, the work that you do, I believe everyone has that intuition, that innermost self. And I guarantee you that portion of you has let you know that there's some unhealthy things that you might be doing to yourself that's speeding up, you know, aging. Not that aging is bad, but like, so many people don't want to be old, and yet they are living the hardest lives. They're stressing all the time. They're not sleeping well. They're not drinking any water. You know, drinking some water is good for you. I know there are people that don't like water, but there's so many different ways to get it into your body these days, you know? Yeah, I'm definitely hitting a supreme ramble right now. But slow down. Be where you're at. Be where you are. Celebrate when you have done a thing, especially when you did something different to what you would usually do. If it was automatic, celebrate. If you had a thought and then you thought, no, I need to change that thought, celebrate that even more, because you made a conscious choice to do something different than what you've done in the past. You know? Those things. And then lastly, it's a personal thing, and I don't know if this has to do with anybody watching this video, but I was told to stop planning. And I hated this. I hated this so much. This one was recent. But everything that I've been going through has been leading up to it. It's been leading up to do less and now stop planning. And I was like, but how am I supposed to move out of here without a plan? How am I supposed to get a job in, you know, Boston, Massachusetts, which is where I'm trying to go? How am I supposed to do any of this stuff without a plan? And I remembered all the plans that I made, and how all of the plans that I've made have not really gone the way I wanted them to. Most of the plans that I made, they've gotten me a thing, but they didn't get me the feeling that I wanted. So when we say we want things, one of the things I think is important, and you should probably do this right now, review what it is that you're wanting, your why, and then what is the feeling you're wanting to feel when you have that thing. Because I think what you will find is it's not actually the thing that you want. It's the feeling of the thing. If the feeling wasn't there, why have it? You might think, well, because then this thing will be taken care of. Well, if you didn't have to worry about that thing, if that worry didn't exist, what would be the point? And I know a lot of people can argue with me. Like, there are a lot of different examples of, like, you know, like, it's like, well, you know, I want the money. Well, the thing for me is really what I want with money is I want to get things that will aid in comfort, having my base needs met, being able to eat, having power, having a roof over my head, being in a location where I can feel like an adult and I can make my own rules. But then the core feeling of all of that I'm wanting from all of that, is the freedom to be. It's the freedom to move how I would like to move. That's really the feeling that I'm looking for. And I've started to learn there's so many different ways to get that feeling. It doesn't have to be exactly what you're asking for. And I think this is what Spirit means when Spirit says you need to be open. Because right now, some of you, maybe you, could be obsessed with how a thing happens. You're thinking, I really need to get a car because I'm trying to drive to this location to get this thing or to meet this person. Oh, I don't know why the camera does that. I was literally just telling my sister, sometimes I feel so old because I don't know why technology be doing what it be doing sometimes. It'd be making me nervous. So I'm sorry for this looking like a bootleg show on YouTube where it'd be zooming up every 5 seconds and the audio be cutting out and then the picture be upside down randomly. But for me, I started to realize so much of what I was wanting, it's the feeling. So it's like, you want a car, you want to get to this place, you want to be able to meet this person, but really, 43 minutes and 23 seconds as I'm saying this, really what you're wanting is a certain feeling. You're wanting maybe community, the feeling of community. So you're wanting to go to a Zumba class because you want to feel community, or maybe because you want to feel better in your body, you want to work out, or you want to get out of your home because your home feels stifled. You see, like there's usually a reason why we are going and doing the things that we want to do. But rarely do we look at the thing and say, well, what if I just took the feeling out of that? Would I need that thing? And you have to ask yourself that personally. Personally, I think you would have to ask yourself that. But I realized that there's so many ways to get the feeling that I want. So when Spirit told me you're going to stop planning, you're going to start trusting your intuition, and you're going to start living in the moment. So when my intuition, when my gut tells me move on this thing, do this thing, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to question it. Because things have been working so much better for me doing that than they were working when I was trying to think of how to do everything and I was trying to logic how to do everything. Again, nothing that I'm doing am I saying you should 100% do. You really do have to check with your spirit. You have to check with how you're living your life, what you're looking for. There's so much. Every person is different. And while I believe in the core truth that everybody has intuition and everybody has a gut, I do believe that people have varying trust. So some people trust their gut completely. They ask no questions, they trust their gut, shit be working out for them. Some people, they don't trust their gut. So then they'll have moments where they're like, well, I think my gut's saying this, but I don't know, and it's actually your anxiety talking. So then you do the thing, it goes wrong, and then you're like, well, I can't trust my intuition, when it wasn't your intuition in the first place. It was your anxiety. It was your worry. Your head got in the way. And oftentimes, my head do be getting in the way. I'd be overthinking all kinds of stuff. But, again, I'm sorry, this is all over the place. I had the slow down, the focus on where you're at, celebrate yourself for how far you have come in between time. This is why journaling is so important, because you really can go back and you can look at what you were feeling and what you were thinking 3 months ago, 4 months ago, a couple of days ago, a couple of hours ago. You can look and you can actually see where growth is happening. Because some of us, we feel like the growth isn't substantial enough to notice. So it's like if you're addicted to sugar and then you go, you have sugar every day, but then you have maybe a day where you didn't have sugar, instead of celebrating that, usually we say, well, that's what we should have been doing. That's what should have been happening. And then we just keep it pushing. Instead of celebrating ourselves, your inner child will thank you for taking the time to see them, to validate them, to hype them up on the thing that they did. You deserve it. You deserve to take that time for yourself. 100%. So, let's see. I got a job, and I'm in that in-between space. And so now all of the plans that I had Excel sheets on Excel sheets on Excel sheets of plans of what I was going to do when I started making money. I had savings plans, I had all this stuff. And I am moved to keep them, to have them. So they're there. But I've been moved to not look at them. So I'm not. I tell you, trusting your gut when people around you, or when like coworkers, friends, family, when they are not, is a bear. This is one of the reasons why when people are like, oh yeah, like I want to go on the spiritual journey and I want to do shadow work and I want to do this, that, and the other. I'm like, friend, I want you to think long and hard about that. Because yeah, of course, I would love for everybody to be doing their thing, trusting their intuition, working on their intuition, strengthening it, being self-aware. But this journey is not one that comes with immediate satisfaction, like immediate gratification. It's something that you are working at. You're working at. It's a daily challenge. Like for me, realizing that I move too fast and that I've been rushing, I've been tired for the past couple of days, because what I'm doing is I'm essentially monitoring myself frequently throughout the day in a way that I don't usually. Usually I'm living on what I have heard popularly called as default. I'm just kind of moving through my day. I don't check with how I'm feeling. I don't think about what I'm thinking. I don't consider the reasons behind what I'm doing. I'm just living. Like I'm just kind of going on autopilot. But when you slow down and you start thinking about your decisions before you make them, it's exhausting because you haven't had to do that. Our brain uses, what's it called? It uses shortcuts, heuristics, ways that we can kind of bypass having to do boring information over and over again and boring processes. We can just skip to the end of that. We can assume that this situation is going to be similar to other situations. So our brain, instead of doing the whole process, just skips. It copy pastes. And that in some cases is good, and in other cases it's not, because it means that we just kind of default. That to me is when you start allowing your life to live you. You're not choosing to live your life. You are allowing anything to happen, and you're just kind of like, well, I am at the mercy of the world because the world is going to hit me, instead of thinking, what if I got to know my own emotions and I got to know myself to a point where I can dictate what to do with my emotions. I can even foster my emotions to show up differently. I can foster my mind to do things differently. I've always been like, oh man, when people say that's just how I am. And I say that sometimes, so I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but to say, oh, that's just how I am, that's just me. Sometimes I'm like, you've given up. You've given up the fun of working with your own mind and spirit. Something that's actually very malleable. Like, you can go in there and you can make it flexible. So yeah, that's what's been up with me. That's what's been happening. That's what I've been working on. And I know I did a whole lot of rambling during this video. Those are the updates. The streaming is going really well. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. But again, if it doesn't go any further than what it is right now, I'm happy. Something I did realize is that I think I'm gonna have to change all of my bios because I've been trying to fit everything into a niche. So the type of gaming that I see is the type of gaming I was trying to replicate, like how other people stream when they play video games. But the way I do it has kind of taken on an energy of its own. And the responses that I'm getting in messages during stream, like in chat messages, and then off stream, to me personally, are letting me know that what I'm doing is desired. People want it. So for a long time, I was like, well, I don't want to stop doing what I'm doing. But then I started thinking of the followers, the subscribers. I started thinking about, well, how can I do this full time? Maybe I'm not supposed to stream full time. I don't know. I've always had desires of what I wanted my life to look like, and I think now may be the first time that I'm genuinely like, this is how I want to feel about my life. What I do to get to that feeling, I do not care how that shows up. I don't care. If I order a package online and it shows up through FedEx, great. If it shows up through Amazon packaging, great. If it shows up through USPS, great. If it's a neighbor who comes and says, hey, I had this thing and I decided I didn't need it anymore, you can have it, I'll take it. I'll take it. I'm not bougie or prideful. At least I try not to be. But something I would encourage you all to do is really to look at yourself. Ooh, this video's doing stuff. I would encourage you to look at how you process, how you feel. How's your life going? And if you're not enjoying how your life's going, what are things that are within your control that you can work on, that you can exercise, that you can feel? And for some of you, it's not that you need to work harder. You want to work harder because that's where you're comfortable. For some of you, what you need to do is you need to slow down and you need to be okay doing nothing. You need to be okay doing a lot less. Some of us find the quiet terrifying. We find lack of movement terrifying. We're afraid of stagnating, so we keep running, only to be burnt out, and then you don't have energy to even enjoy the thing you get when you finally do get it. So I think those are my messages for the day. I think that's what I've got for you guys as far as updates of what's happening. Spiritually, it's become I've really started to enjoy the life that I'm living. I think this is the first time I'm going into a job not wondering when I'm going to be able to level up from that job to another job. Like, I'm ready to go in and just do the work that I'm going to do every day and just enjoy meeting new people, being a part of something. And so would I still like to move to Boston? Yes. Would I still like to move out of my parents' house? Yes. Would I still like, a certain amount of income without having to bust my ass every day? Of course. I feel like we all want that. But now I'm to put all of the plans of how to do that aside. I am simply to focus on the feeling of the thing and to try to match that frequency. And to remember that so much of this life, what makes it worth living is feeling it. Like, as a person who is kind of like I was very like logic, practicality, like that was me. I had a very, very long period of time where I was an atheist. I was like, there is nothing. Nothing exists except this earth that I'm standing on. There is no spirit. All of it's garbage. And it's crazy how that didn't work for me. And if that's what you believe and it works, I say do what works. If you're enjoying the life that you are living, not doing anything that I talk about, who am I to tell you to do it? You got a whole system going. But if you find yourself frequently like, what am I doing? Is there a different way to do this? This kind of sucks ass. And I don't know, maybe consider a little bit. I'm trying to think if I have any other updates. I think that's really it. As far as like the romance bit, that's been really funny because now I'm really detached from that idea. Like, I have an internal knowing that that is going to happen when it's going to happen. And I definitely have those moments where my heart yearns. It yearns. But overall, when I am streaming, when I am drawing, when I am creating something, when I'm reading, when I'm doing things that feed my own soul, I yearn for that a little less. And I don't think the whole point is to get rid of it entirely, because I think I'm meant to have that. I think that's part of the reason the yearning is happening so bad. But finding a way to build my life in a way that I would enjoy even if I didn't find a soulmate it really is doing me good. It's causing me to look at who I am, my habits as a person. Like 6 months ago I was like, I'm so ready to be in a relationship. I've done all this work. What I'm learning is there's always stuff. Your inbox is always gonna have stuff in it. So it's not about being ready, it's about, I don't even really know what it's about, if I'm being honest with you, but I don't think it's about being ready. I think it's about living your life and doing what you feel to do to light a fire in your own spirit, instead of, doing what I've done 95% of my life, which is sit around hoping that somebody else would come and save me and give me that dopamine hit of having like a romantic partner. So yeah, if you've made it this far in the video, I would love for you to comment an emoji in the comments, just to see what y'all's favorite emojis are. But I love you guys so much, and I say that when I come off of every stream that I do, because I do. Like, I appreciate everyone who sees my content, who views my content, who engages with it or doesn't engage with it. My hope is that you all find peace, or that peace finds you, and that you are open enough to receive that peace. That's my hope. My hope is that if you have questions, that answers come to you, and that you're open to receiving those answers. So I have a feeling somebody needs to be more open, because you have a lot of questions and you're like, I'm not getting answers, and I think you are, and they're answers you don't like. And the reason you don't like them is probably a reason why it's time for you to make some changes. It's time for you to make some changes. It's kind of what I'm feeling. So yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I have for you guys. Again, you guys are amazing. You guys are amazing. Those of you who follow me on Twitch and who you engage with me, I'm so glad you decided to bite the bullet and come over to where we can talk. Because, like, these videos are great, but, I can only engage with you so much through here. But yeah, I think that's all I have. Yeah, I think that's all I've got. I hope you guys have a fantastic morning, afternoon, evening, or night, wherever you're at. I hope that your pillow is cool on both sides. I hope that the food that you eat, even if somebody who is not talented with the seasonings made it, I hope that it blows your mind and that it's just seasoned to perfection. I hope that the love that you're looking for, you begin to feel bits of it in the world as that is on its way to you. My hope for you is that you open yourself up to all of the good that is out here for you to have. There is so much. There is an infinite void of good for you to have. And so much of it has to do with us standing in our own way. And we're like, what? No, I want it. How could I be standing in my own way? This is the thing that I want. And we're not understanding that the way you've been conditioned is to believe that that thing is separate from you. You've been conditioned to believe that there are things that are blocking you outside of you, when really it's just you. It's your decision to say, you know what? I'm done with this bullshit. At least that's my opinion. All of this is my opinion. All of it's my opinion. It's my experience. You know, these are things that I feel to say. If they resonate, keep them. If they don't, drop that shit at the door. Rinse your hands and move on with your life. But I think that's all I have. For those of you who want peace, it is going to require you to sacrifice something. Oop, the zoom in, it's going to require you to sacrifice something. It's going to require you to sacrifice who you have been. It's going to require you sacrifice your comfort zone. It's going to require you sacrifice some relationships that you're holding on to out of obligation, not because they're doing anything for you. If you're seeking joy, euphoria, a connection with somebody, I think it is going to you're gonna have to sacrifice something. And a lot of us do not like the word sacrifice. I know I don't. But when you let go of that shit that's been hurting you, that you don't need, trust and believe you will feel better. You're gonna grieve for a little bit, but then you'll feel better. It's a part of the process. Or I could be talking out of my ass. All of this could be complete bullshit. And if you feel like it is, that's your prerogative, and I can't, you know, who am I? Some random bitch on the internet. But anyway, I think that's all I have for you all. I think that's all I've got. I love you guys. I'm about to work on an ASMR video. It's going to be another mouth covering type scenario, so if you're into that sort of thing, I think I'm posting this vlog on a Thursday. If you're into that sort of thing, it should either already be posted or it's gonna be posted like later today. But anyways, I love you guys. I wish you all the best. I wish you all the best, all the good that you can fucking stand. I want that for you. I am cheering you on. If you don't feel like anybody's cheering for you, I'm cheering for you. I'm cheering for you. I want everything for you. I want there to be so much good that you're like almost overstimulated. Yeah, that's what I hope for you. Okay, I'll holler at y'all in another vlog. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye!